I loved gymnastics. I would always do cartwheels and somersaults and the splits.
She had a lot of energy. She was very annoying and outgoing. And
it was December of 2013. Nomi started getting sick and we thought it was the flu. Her stomach was distended and she couldn't even really carry her own weight. She laid down on the bathroom rug. So I made the doctor's appointment and I carried her to the car and I carried her to the appointment.
So it was really shocking to us because when we took her to the emergency room, they drew blood and they found that her white blood cell count, or her lymphoblasts, which are a type of white blood cell count, was higher than they'd ever seen.
That's when the doctor in the emergency room told us she had cancer. It was really awful. Of course, it was terrifying, to hear the news, and it automatically upended our lives.
I had to take a lot of time off of work. Dina had to give up her job. Maya had to give up being a 13-year-old, 12-year-old child.
Couldn't travel, no one was home. I spent a lot of time alone, so we weren't spending time together.
The treatment, after 8 months, the treatment wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, so they had to reassess her diagnosis, and it actually turns out that she had chronic myeloid leukemia.
We were all pretty upset that she was misdiagnosed.
Once it was determined that she had chronic myeloid leukemia, she needed a bone marrow transplant. Fortunately, Maya, her sister, is a perfect match.
It was an automatic yes to donate my bone marrow.
I was terrified that she was going to die so many times. Before the transplant, we took a week vacation in Mexico because she really wanted to travel outside the country. And we wanted her to have that memory, and we wanted to have that memory in case she didn't survive.
I knew in my heart and in the back of my mind that she was going to be cancer-free after my bone marrow transplant.
I went into a remission about a month after I was being diagnosed, which means that the cancer cells were gone, but the Ph positive cells were still there.
Because that means she could lose remission and she could go back into having the cancer. But fortunately, about 2 weeks ago, her body converted 100% to 100% donor cells.
I was really happy because I was done. I was cancer-free, and that felt so good to say and think about, because then I knew I was normal again.
LLS was really critical, both financially and for emotional support during this whole process.
They fund Dr. Shaw's research, and he discovered the medication that saved Nomi's life. So I am forever indebted to LLS and Dr. Shaw.
So it all started right after Christmas 2011. We had a bunch of cardboard boxes and James was stomping them down in the recycling bin and he fell over. And we all laughed at him, we thought it was funny. But a few days later he became really fatigued and was complaining of discomfort in his chest. We took him to the hospital and they found a 7-inch mass in his chest. It was dangerously close to his heart and his lungs.
I remember it being my mom's birthday and the doctors coming in and trying to be as gentle as they could while telling me that I had cancer.
I didn't quite grasp the idea of it, so it was just kind of a state of shock and confusion.
Actually, my first thought was, I don't know how I was going to tell his grandparents.
It felt like the world was ending.
And boy, you wish you could take their place and not have them go through it.
I think one of the hardest things for us to adjust to was seeing James's friends go on and live their lives and play sports and have girlfriends and go to school while James was in the hospital, or James was here by himself, or James was throwing up in the bathroom, and it felt like the rest of the world was leaving him behind.
As soon as one treatment is over, the side effects kick in, and then once those are over, another medication comes in. There's never an easy part. A lot of things have times that they're easy and difficult, but cancer, the chemotherapy never gets easy.
We have a younger daughter, and she was not getting the attention, and she was having a hard time being scared that her brother was so sick, and she was worried he was going to have to die.
None of it was easy. None of it was comfortable.
I can't explain the fear that really takes over. When you think your child is going to die and there's nothing that you can do about it, and you don't understand why, and just being afraid, and the whole family was afraid. And that's something that stayed with us through the whole journey, and I think is only now starting to end.
It was a big relief when he finally got to stop taking chemo. When he finally got to stop putting that stuff into his body and stop killing parts of his body off.
One time before chemo, I ran up and down the hill because I knew that it would be the first time, the only time in a long time that I've been able to run. I took so much out of me that the opportunity to run for me was very exciting, even though I'm not a runner.
And he really wanted to do everything again. He was really impatient to get back to his real life and to start high school and to just be a normal kid again.
It's such a relief to just let him be the boy that he should be and not have to be the patient that he needed to be.
Coming out at the other end of the journey, we realized that James was treated and successfully beat cancer because people had given and because people had cared enough to support the LLS and organizations like the LLS in their fight to cure blood cancers.
Helping out and finding cures means everything. I can't imagine not having my kids around.